Welcome back. You're watching our special broadcast. China has unleashed a fresh wave of stimulus amid the trade war with the US. The announcement came at what has been colloquially referred to as two sessions. The nation's largest political gathering, China's premier has warned of changes unseen in a century unfolding across the world. China has also set a growth target of 5% and raised its budget deficit to 4%, which is the highest in 15 years. The Chinese government has also said it would boost its defense budget by 1.78 trillion yuan. And this is a 7.2% increase from the year ago. Let me go across to Jonathan Cheng, China Bureau Chief at the Wall Street Journal. Jonathan, thank you very much. You're joining us from Beijing. Give us a sense of how this package, this stimulus package that the Chinese government has announced will play out. And do you think this is going to address the key problem of sluggish consumer demand in the economy?
Well, a stimulus is one word for it. I think people here are, there are some who are disappointed that there wasn't more. Obviously, as you point out there, 4% is higher than 3%. They are going to open up the wallets a little bit more, and there has been concern that there wasn't enough support from the fiscal side. So you are starting to see that. However, you do have economists who look at this and say they're probably holding back some in reserve. And that's because Donald Trump has now raised tariffs on Chinese goods twice, and he's only been in office for a couple of weeks. So if you expect that he may keep raising them, you probably want to keep some dry powder. So I don't want to belittle what has been done so far, but I think when you look ahead and you look at the landscape and you look at how things are evolving, if you're sitting in Beijing, you probably want to make sure that you don't use it all now or show all your cards now.
Right. Jonathan, could you also give us a sense of probably what could be some of the more areas where Xi Jinping and the Chinese government may want to focus on over the next 1 year or so? Or will it be a wait-and-watch approach to see what impact do Donald Trump's policies have?
Well, there will be an element of wait and watch, but I also don't think that they can wait and watch. I think part of it here, too, is that if you think back to Trump's first term, China was very much in the crosshairs then. Obviously, now he's broadened his scope and he's going after neighbors like Canada, like Mexico, but China is still in the frame. So, you know, they're not new to this. They've been actually taking the lesson from the first Trump administration. They've been trying to make their economy more resilient. They've been trying to make it more self-reliant. And you mentioned domestic consumption. That is a piece of the puzzle here, too, because exports have really been driving the Chinese economy for the last few years. But if you're going to have tariffs go up everywhere, and by the way, it's not just the U.S., India has tariffs. A lot of other countries, Brazil, have tariffs against Chinese goods because they're also concerned about a flood of Chinese goods coming into their market. So if that's close to China, then domestic consumption becomes a bigger part of the mix.
Right. How have the big industrial sectors in China responded to the kind of announcement that have happened to increase efficiency, increase profits in this global environment?
Well, no, it's a challenge, and you know, the Chinese economy has gradually been slowing. A lot of it is just, you know, gravity after all these years of high growth. Of course, growth is going to come down. There was the pandemic, there was the first Trump term, and now this Trump term. It will be difficult. I think the Chinese government and Chinese private sector, they're all looking to the same things that many in India and around the world are looking at, which is increasing productivity through technology. And of course, China has shown that it can lead the way on artificial intelligence, on robotics, on some of these tools. And I think they really want to double down on that because it will help their economy, it will help with productivity, but it will also help with other applications, including advanced science, of course, military applications, all of these things that I think China really wants to stand out and lead the way in so that it can be prepared if there is more tension up ahead.
All right. Jonathan Cheng, thank you very much for joining us on the program with your view on the stimulus announced by the Chinese government and how this will really impact the Chinese economy and more measures that could be in the offing in the months to come. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of the show. More news and updates continue right here.